We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. It is Friday, and we have a guest with us today, Will. We know Will is typically pretty fired up, but now he's also drugged up. You just saw the doctor today. He's got some various medications, and I don't know what's going to happen here. I've just got my fingers crossed. Thankfully, we aren't on broadcast media because I don't know what may occur. So be ready.
No,
Welcome, Will.
if we're on broadcast media years ago, we wouldn't even be doing our shit as we do now,
Yeah, they
except
would have taken
somewhere
me
else.
off a long time ago. Yeah,
Oh God,
yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
Um,
We got
no, I mean
we
I
got
got some. Go ahead,
go
sir.
ahead. No, go ahead. Tell us what's up with
No,
you.
no, I'm just basically on. I had got shots in my knees for steroids, so you know how it is when you're worried up. So that's where I'm at right now, kind of. Um,
But you're
it's
feeling
been a
less pain
long.
than you normally feel, which is
Oh
good.
God, it's the first time in a long time. If you don't get old and don't go bone on your knees, it's not a fun experience.
Oh, I
And
can
that's where I'm
imagine.
at right now. Oh, yeah, but it
Well,
feels better, so I'll take that as a plus.
we're
Um,
glad you're feeling better. I wanted to start out the conversation about the thing that affects you and I, and it's
mhm.
about this impending TikTok ban. And I've said all along that I don't think it's the ban's going to happen because there's too much money and too many people involved. That's too much to leave on the table. And as it turns out right now, we just heard about it a little bit ago. We're recording this on Thursday
Mhm.
night. There will not be a shutdown of TikTok on Sunday. There's not going to be one. Now, at some point today, when you hear this podcast, there is supposed to be a decision from the Supreme Court. Now, if they just overturn the ban, then we're cool, we're home free, no big worries, nothing like that. But if they come back and they uphold the ban, TikTok will still not be shut down on Sunday. And here's why. We've been hearing from the White House that Joe Biden's going to do something to delay it and do this and that and the other thing. And we were all hoping for that. It turns out what Joe Biden is going to do is absolutely nothing. If they uphold the ban in the Supreme Court, they will he will just not enforce it. And that will go for about 36 hours until such time that Donald Trump becomes president and he'll have to deal with it. Now, that's good news for people on TikTok, people like you and me who count on watching it, who count on creating on it. But this, to me, is exactly the problem with the Democrats. You have an opportunity to do something, make a decision, and instead you put your hands in your pockets and say, well, I'll delay it a little bit and let Donald Trump handle it. No, Trump probably won't shut down TikTok. I don't think we're going to see a shutdown of TikTok. But this was a last opportunity for Joe Biden to set a tone or make a statement, and he fucking didn't do it.
Look at the generations, though. I mean, they don't get it. They will never get it. Okay, I mean, I'm 64 coming up. You're 65 coming up, and we get it because we embrace technology. We always embraced. I mean, you were in a technological field in radio. Radio
Yeah,
changed. You had to go with the technology.
yeah,
Me, I worked in a business where they had technology, but it wasn't what they kept upgrading. So you had to get with the program.
right.
And the problem is that you got a lot of these politicians, especially since they're fucking old as fucking dirt. I think there's dirt. I don't think there's dirt older in Iowa than Chuck Grassley.
Yeah,
Um, they don't get it, and so to the whole thing, the the whole process, they jumped on board because all they hear is China. Well, we all know the guy who owns it is from Singapore, Tom
yeah,
Cotton, and Singapore is not part of China. They're a separate country. They have now they have relations to China because like it's sitting on top of them. They've got to. But it was just an ignorant thing that they all bought, and the president signed it. Then all of a sudden, and part of it, let's bottom line it. There's three people going to be sitting right next to Trump on the inauguration. Elon Musk, who now has an office in the White House, which I what the well no it's tracks. Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg.
right.
Okay, so let's talk about Zuckerberg. And if anyone's seen the social network, He hates that movie. You know why he hates that movie? Because the guy who wrote it, who wrote The West Wing, put him exactly who he is. He's a fucking scumbag.
Yeah,
He
he is.
betrayed everyone that he worked with. He backstabbed everyone and became rich on the rest of them got fucked. That's what he does. He is the worst kind of fucking nerd because he has no social skills, but his social skills lean toward me, fuck you all. That's the thing about it. He always trying to be something he is not. You can talk about Steve Jobs, but Steve Jobs dedicated to his technology. He wasn't that type of person. That being said, Zuckerberg put a lot of fucking money in lobbyists. Speaking, if he kills TikTok, everyone is going to go over to Facebook and Instagram. But you don't get the same things in Instagram and Facebook as you get from TikTok.
No.
TikTok's a different cat. YouTube is just nostalgia old man. YouTube is Google. YouTube's big. I mean, what I can get 300, 1,000 views on a video here, I get 3 on
Right.
YouTube. It's a different cat. Okay, you got to kind of really be lucky with YouTube to an extent, or really be something unique. So people don't
Now
want
with
to do that shit. Go ahead.
with YouTube, I've gotten to the point where I got little traction there, not as much as on TikTok. But
Mhm.
what you have to do with YouTube is you have to consistently post all the time, and you've got to be patient. It doesn't happen quickly. I mean,
Yeah.
I could get 10,000 followers in a week on TikTok, but I've got a total of 17,000 on YouTube
Yeah.
over a period of a few years. That's just that's just the way it is.
And it's also a different cat. There's a different feel to TikTok. The reason that it
Oh yeah,
feels like one, and even older people, it's the simplicity of use. It's fucking
yeah,
easy to do it. If you got a phone, you can do it. That's why you see all these MAGA people with the brains of weasels. No, weasels are smarter, but really smart. Not very putting stuff up because they can't. And then people
yeah.
pile on. But the thing about TikTok, it gives creation. The only reason I came to TikTok was because of a creator named See You Later, SEAYA Later. And she had some videos on YouTube about the afterlife. It was her take on the afterlife. It was freaking entertaining. And then it ended, so I had to go find her on TikTok to pick up where you left off. So at
Right.
that point led me down the rabbit hole, and I'm following the rabbits, and here I am opening my big mouth, and because you get comfortable. There are a lot of comfortable people on that app. They're very
Yeah.
comfortable. I mean, the people who have been saying goodbye videos, me, I don't give a fuck because I'm not making anything from it. I kind of have 2,500 followers. I don't know. I get a fucking lot of bots, but it's like, but people who are really down core. Stella, you've seen Stella
Stella
from New York.
Max. Yeah, she's
Yeah,
awesome.
she's brilliant and she's funny, and she had a really emotional thing because it's no money for her. It's not the money. She said like she's been offered a bunch of money to do shit. She won't do it. What she's going to miss is the relationship with people. And that's the thing I think that's the bottom line about TikTok. And it reminds me of a scene from Game of Thrones where one of the characters is trying to tell Cersei, the queen, that isn't about power, it's about manipulation. And she's walking with a guard. She turns around and tells the guards, seize him, cut his throat. No, no, never mind. No, no, let him go. I changed my mind. And she turns around and looks at him and goes, power is power. And the point is, during the LA fires, 2 hot dog vendors in Pasadena decided to start feeding first responders and people who had lost everything. There's 2 of them. They put up what they did on TikTok. Within one day, they had hundreds of vendors show up. Thousands of people started to donate. They had to move it from the Rose Bowl because they were using it as a command center because where it's close to the fires to Santa Anita Park, and it's still growing. The city of Pasadena has so much stuff now, they have to tell people we only need this much. That's
Right.
one TikTok video. And if you don't think the idea of someone finally say, it's time, scares the piss out of those in charge, this is one of the reasons why. That's why Tom Cotton spewed that stupid communist bullshit from the 1950s. Motherfucker, I could take in his speech and gone back to one of those old black and whites about Russia and communism, they would have been the same. They're the same fucking take,
Right.
and people buy it. Your children, what the fuck? You telling me cat videos make you communist? I mean, it's just, I mean, that's what the disconnect is. The rest of the Senate got it because they're getting pressure. Tom Cotton don't give a fuck because he's going to get reelected by those fucking idiots in Arkansas anyway. Hell,
Yeah.
Alabama elected Tuberville and he's attacking Gavin Newsom as being an idiot. Fuck, Tuberville, you can spell idiot if I spot you the first four letters, motherfucker.
Just to
But
let
that's
you know, just to let you know, if your wife has to pop in and hit you with some Narcan, just let us know. We'll
no,
pause it.
I'm good. But
Well, no,
that's I mean
you know
that's the thing about TikTok. I didn't say goodbye. I don't know what it was gonna. If it is what it is, I put up a thing about it. It is what it is. What happens happens. Um, the Supreme Court does that. You would just here's the thing. If they do it, you are now justifying the removal of the First Amendment under national security reasons. But who sets the national security? You're going down a fucking slippery slope. And I hope those assholes have enough sense to know that fucking with the First Amendment is not a smart idea. I hope they do. I mean, that's the whole thing about Facebook and Twitter. Um, people saying, well, you're canceling this. That's the First Amendment. What the fuck is going on over here then? It's
yeah.
worse.
Well, it's hard
So,
to say what's going to happen with the Supreme Court because they're so corrupt as it is. They could go either way. And the fact that we heard the story that Donald Trump made a call to Judge Alito regarding an upcoming decision, but we weren't talking about the decision. It wouldn't surprise me if Donald Trump had occasion to talk to the Supreme Court and say, you got to let this one go. And unfortunately, in most situations, a Supreme Court wouldn't listen. But in this case, I don't know what they're going to do, but the bottom line is what I've said before. There's too much money, too much power. They're not going to just cut it off and just waste it. They're too fucking greedy. They're going to hold on to it one way or another. And I will tell you this, while I do make some money from TikTok, the more valuable thing is the community because
yeah,
when you look at the rational boomer thing, there are a lot of people who have gotten to know each other, a lot of people who've gotten to know me and me them. None of that
totally.
would have happened without TikTok. A lot of people of a like mind have gotten together, and that was the whole point of rational boomer. Not try to talk Trumplafucks out of what they believe because you can't do it, but pull together people of a like mind and hopefully gain some power through that.
And the thing about it is, um, the point where the whole thing was going, I'm like going, everything that we're hearing now, didn't you guys realize that 6 months ago was the same fucking thing? What was going? I mean, again, this is all election driven. This is all power driven. These guys were trying to look, tough on
Tough.
something. They're always looking at it. You're talking about the Democrats and all that. Look, we're at, we let in 2016 a disease. Trump and MAGA is a disease. We let it in.
Absolutely. Cancer.
COVID, yeah, COVID kind of killed it. It was kind of almost the chemotherapy for it. It almost killed it, almost got it, and it didn't went into remission for 4 years. But unfortunately, it came back as a bigger tumor. Let's be honest. Now there is no drug in the world now that we're going to stop it because a good majority of us did not want the treatment
Yeah.
and decided let's run its course. And that's the thing. The scary thing about what's going on that people don't realize that we let him have a dry fucking run. Everything you're seeing going right now before the transition, during the transition, what's going on in the Senate. Mike Turner, the House Intelligence Committee chairman, was suddenly removed. Why? Because someone in Mar-a-Lago said he's not loyal to Trump. It shouldn't be like that. Congress is a separate branch, but he's gone. There wasn't even a hesitation Mike Johnson, you got the call. Mike Johnson said, you're out. They put some other guy who is kind of MAGA, but he's really quiet and soft. And even the Democratic chairman going, I've never seen this. We don't, but the point being is they know what to do now. They know how to get around the systems. And a lot of the people who were the barriers in the first Trump administration are gone. They won't work with him anymore because they know it's, and they won't let him in because through the whole 2020 thing, they turned him out. So what happened? It's basically try to take over the government from a fucking bar, got arrested, came back. Then you have Nuremberg rallies.
Well, here's the
You
problem
see
with
the
that.
same
You
parallel.
have you have a separation of powers between the different branches. You have the legislative and you have the executive. One shouldn't have control over the other. But it was well known that Donald Trump called and said, you know, somebody from Mar-a-Lago doesn't like you, so you're going to get fired. And that crosses the line of the separation of powers. And these fuckers are so stupid or so arrogant, they're willing to throw that out there in front of everybody's faces. It's not that it maybe didn't happen before, but these dumb fucks says, yeah, we're doing it. And that is a breakdown of our democracy because it goes the opposite of what's supposed to happen, and they just don't fucking care.
And because Mike Johnson owes his power seat to Donald Trump, and
Right.
that's what he's doing. That's what happens when you let a cult of personality run the United States. Something again the forefathers didn't want. They didn't even want parties, but they went ahead and gravitated toward it. But they never fucked with the free press. They always look toward the country as a whole, which
Right.
brings us to if you think, and I keep seeing all these MAGA people come, January 20 is going to unite the country. That's where we're going to put the flag at full staff because, we want to show that we're united as one. We'll get to that later. But you saw anyone who thinks that anyone in Los Angeles that lost their home, their lives, their livelihood, deserve what they got, you're not a human being. You have some
Absolutely.
serious issues. I lived in Southern California for the majority of my life. I've only been here in Georgia for the last 20 years, but I grew up in Southern California. I've seen wildfires. I've seen the smoke. I've seen the ashes. One time when I was working on my first job, I'm looking out where the plant is. There's fires in the hills above us, and they're fighting it. When the Santa Anas blow, they don't fuck around. One time I remember it was 70 miles an hour. They didn't want anyone out on the yard. Why? When I looked up, a piece of 15 by 15 piece of plywood was flying around like a frisbee. That could have hurt someone. Then what happened was never seen before. An ember, 100-mile-an-hour winds. No one's to blame for that. But Trump automatically looked at it as an opportunity to fuck Gavin Newsom, not
Yeah.
caring a goddamn thing about the Americans who lost everything. And even his today's statement is, quote, well, we're going to have to tie this because Los Angeles really wants the money. So we're going to have to tie it to something or whatever. Los Angeles is, you're acting as if they're going to get cash to use it to buy something that they don't need. This is federal
Yeah.
aid that they need to rebuild. Now, to be honest, if the state of California wanted to pull back every federal dollar it gives out and put it into Los Angeles aid, then they could do it. They literally could do it. They could cut themselves off the federal tax bill and watch everyone else starve.
Yeah.
For every dollar that's done, that's made, every dollar in the budget in I believe it's Louisiana, $2 on top of that is federal money.
Yeah.
Mississippi, Alabama, they're all the same. Even here in Georgia, it's 99 cents. They're getting federal government above because they don't contribute. They're getting in. Okay.
Right.
California has zero, zero. All this money it is going out, not coming in.
Right.
And if they decide to do it, then you will choke the rest of them. And to watch Mike Johnson and all those people act like that. The thing about it is, I thought we were one country. I thought the Civil War, anyone has seen, have you ever seen Ken Burns' Civil War
Yeah.
documentary? It's amazing. But at the end, one of the historians made a point about the Civil War. They said the Civil War changed the nature of the United States from the United States are to the United States is one nation. Trump has returned us back to the United States are.
Yeah, Donald
And
Trump
that's
has said,
wrong.
Donald Trump has said, and people around him have said that they wouldn't be opposed to holding back money for whatever circumstances, that there would be strings attached to this. And that's the problem. Donald Trump is transactional. He doesn't give something unless he's getting something. And if you've got a state like California, who didn't vote for him in the presidential election, he looks at you as an enemy. He's not a president. He's somebody who is trying to apply business practices to government. And you just can't do that because there's got to be some humanity in a president. Now, the problem with that is there are people in California that are big time Trump humpers. There are people
Yes.
in California, businesses in California that support Donald Trump. So while he's fucking over California, he's fucking over his own people. But the problem is he doesn't care because he doesn't need anything from anybody anymore.
But it's the thing about it, they're looking at it as an opportunity. Do you know where
Yeah.
the California Republican congressional delegation was during the fire? They were in fucking Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, of course.
They were not in California. Not one fucking congressional Republican was in California. Did the mass media say anything about it? Not a goddamn thing. That's part of the problem too.
Yeah.
But the situation is this: there's already a recall going out for the mayor of Los Angeles and the governor. There are some people in the Republican Party saying that the biggest one of the conditions they want, sure, we'll give you the money, and Gavin Newsom resigns and Karen Bass resigns. And I'm thinking, you guys don't know how this works, right? Because if he
They
resigns,
don't.
the lieutenant governor takes over. If you do a recall, which they've done before, there's no Republican that's going to take down Gavin Newsom. No one. It's not going to happen. And
No.
this rich fuck in California, Rich Caruso, who ran against Karen Bass, who lost, is making noises. By the way, that motherfucker had private firefighters that he hired to protect his motherfucking properties. Fuck the rest of us. Fuck the rest of those people. Oh, by the way, if you think it's all celebrities, no. Altadena was a red line in the 50s, was a red line area. What did that mean? Is that they weren't going to sell to blacks and Hispanics in the basin, but you can go up in the hills in Altadena. Now, Altadena is a beautiful place now. Well, it was till it fucking burned. And the
Yeah.
point is, all these people are saying, well, they're rich. No, they're not. A lot of people are not. A lot of people have had those homes for fucking generations. Malibu, a lot of those homes were generational. And that's the thing. This misinformation, we can't stop it. They have a fucking train that keeps rolling and rolling. And then one of the mass media is supposed to help us out. MSNBC turned their back on us. The Times turned their back on us. WAPO, half the fucking writers about ready to quit
Yeah.
because they know they become a fucking Trump propaganda rag. So what does this all lead to? It fucking is we have our own tight community. We're trying to tell people that. But they're going to do things that's going to harm a lot of people, and no one's going to stop them. No one is going to stop them. And it's going to be the worst dystopian novel I have ever read coming up. And when I say January 20th is probably in the American Republic, it's a good, I'm 99% sure as soon as they start rolling out the immigration thing, marriage. You see what Oklahoma wants to make marriage solely religious and make women tied to their husbands like some fucking Handmaid's Tale bullshit.
Yeah.
This is our future, and no one can stop it because Trump and his people, the Heritage Foundation mostly, got a hold of the presidency, got a hold of the legislature, and fucking got a hold of the judiciary.
But you got to admit,
That's not good.
they don't have as much control as they like you to think in the House and the Senate. They're going to have a tough time passing some things, certainly in the House, and even with the filibuster in the Senate. It's going to be tough doing anything because if the Democrats do what the Republicans did, they can block a lot.
If the Democrats do it,
Good point.
if, and that's the point. As soon as John Fetterman started running his fucking mouth and became the new Karen Cinema of the Senate, I'm
Yeah.
saying we're fucked. Even Barry Sanders said some good things about RFK. I'm going, are you fucking kidding me? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know they have the balls to do this. I don't know what's gone in their hands. There is no bipartisan with this man. What is wrong with you? I mean,
I
the
do
thing
get
about it is
I
like, yeah,
I
good.
do get a sense that the Democrats, even with the TikTok decision and Joe Biden deciding to do nothing, uh, the election goes the way it is, and they just folded up and died after that. Um, it just shows me that the Democrats are weak. They're not willing to fight. They're just going along to get along. And it's frustrating. If you and I are in a fight and we're fighting for the Democrats, but the Democrats won't fight, that doesn't give us many options.
I mean, I'm not, no, I'm not even talking about party now. I'm talking about country. I'm beyond this bullshit. And then as a lifelong Democrat, the thing about it is the game has changed. Don't fight. You fight. You fight the game you got, and these guys keep are fighting a different game. They think there's going to be bipartisan. Now, a few people get it. Jasmine Crockett gets it. I mean, I saw that bit. Please, please put that on pay-per-view. I'll watch that. I know it'll
Yeah.
only be 5 minutes,
Yeah.
but to watch, see, that's the thing. It's the lack of the ability to stand up and say no, fuck no. We're going to hold everything up because they're afraid of the reaction of voters is ignorant. You already saw what these voters think, and the majority of us want you to stand up and fight for us. And we already have made that point with the mass media. You ran and hide. We're not giving you our our money, and now you're suffering for it. Oh, by the way, Mark Zuckerberg, you pulled out all your fact checking, and you went over with Trump. Oh, Meta's down what, 35%? People at Facebook's about a lot of people. I'm going, hey, when someone goes on, when the meme is or the voice meme like I do with TikTok is that I would take my personal data and drop it in the Chinese consulate before I watch an IG reel. Tells you everything you need to know.
Right.
See, we already are showing how we think. The problem is the party is still thinking that they can salvage the last election through changing their message. No, it wasn't the message. It's just the opposition got into these people's heads, and you had a black woman that couldn't appeal to enough people because they won't vote for a black person or black. No, they vote for a black man. Not voting for a black woman or not
Right.
voting for a woman. Period. Because let's be
Exactly.
honest, um, Kamala Harris' performance is equal what happened to Hillary Clinton. Take out. I
True.
mean, that's the only. What's the only thing they have in common? They're women,
Right.
and that tells you everything. That goes back to that. I think the biggest thing right now that Joe Biden is sitting there going, I should have told Nancy Pelosi to go fuck herself. I should have said it. I should have done it and pressed. I should have pushed it hard. And I really believe he would have come back. I think
Well,
everything that happened with Trump would have reflected more on him because Joe Biden would have been a white man.
something
Truth,
sometimes
story.
something I think we should consider. We always talk about a third party and how a third party won't work. And theoretically, that's true if we play the game like they play the game. But what if we play the game differently? We know the strength of the people in this country and the strength of social media. What if social media, all the big creators and all the little creators and all the people that follow it, said, fuck it, we're tired of Democrats, we're tired of Republicans. we're going to build our own candidate. And it won't really be a third party. It'll be a party of the people, a party of social media, and the party of the people that come together. If you can get $100,000 from some old lady who needs to get her lawn mowed, you could probably build a candidate that might do a pretty good showing in the presidency.
But you better get some people that knows how to work the system, because the system's rigged against the
Absolutely.
third party. The
Absolutely.
whole Green Party thing, and the people are so fooled. That's why, like Jill Stein and all those other people use it as a con. They don't tell you how they say, well, we're going to make changes. Yeah, but you don't have the apparatus to get on every state. You don't have the apparatus to get around rulings and pushes from the other parties to try to keep you off the ballot. You don't have the apparatus. If you're going to build that, you better have a legal section that comes out of TikTok or social media and says, okay, we are the election lawyers. We're going to build the apparatus. You build the apparatus, and then you have to have the promotional people, and then you got to find someone that appeals, that has a good, that appeals to people and works that out. Because that's the thing. It's not. It's a dream these people have, but you got to build it. You guys
Right.
never, no one ever fucking gets it, and that's the thing. It goes back to your education. I'm going to say this straight up. Someone made a comment. I did a TikTok. Someone was wondering why people are so just dumb.
Stupid.
And the point is that people are just never been taught like we were taught. We were taught to learn. We were taught to find out why this happened. Why are we learning? The problem, and then as I said in my video was, then came, because my kids were the last generation of that. My sons, my daughter, they read, they learn critical thinking. Okay, even through the parochial school I sent them to, they still taught them critical thinking. Okay, which means they rejected a lot of Baptist teaching, which they hated them for, but that's a different story. But the point is, then came No Child Left Behind. And what was the goal for No Child Left Behind? Pass the fucking test. You
Yeah.
got to pass the test. You got to have these certain percentages in order to get funding. So you went from teaching them from teaching them to learn stuff to learn it, memorize it, vomit it. So
Right.
you don't make any connections with anything.
I think
And
the
what
smartest
happens? You get
people, I think
this.
the smartest people in the world are not the people that are the most educated. The
True.
education is great. The people who are the smartest, who after they get done with their education, continue to be curious, continue to seek out knowledge, continue to try to learn, continue to look at things critically, as you said. But what happens is it's like people who retire and say, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to go sit on the couch and watch Wheel of Fortune. That's all I'm going to do. Well, great, because that's where you're going to die. And it's the same with education. Your life is an education. And when you get the formal education, that's cool. But you got to continue educating yourself, stay up to date in technology, stay up to date in politics, stay up to date in everything. But people just say, I don't have to learn anymore because I'm out of school. That's not a good way to become an intelligent, productive person in this country.
And then going back to the original subject, we talk about TikTok. You notice that the older folk who come on here who have never done this really get off on other people teach. They take stuff from this place and they
Right,
learn
right,
because it gives them something that you don't get. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I can watch TV all I want, but the difference is though, I can do it on my phone. I can
right.
get what I want. It's not what's going to be fed to me. And that's the thing. I can seek out stories like I've been watching Landman from Tyler Sheridan. That's a different cat. That's a very smart show to talk about the oil business in a different way. I've never seen it. Now I'm trying to understand why, okay, Midland Permian Basin, okay, what's the history of all that? It brings up some like curiosity that Tyler Sheridan put out for everyone to see. And even made, there's a line where he's fighting a cartel because they're trying to fight over land, and the cartel guy is telling him about economics, and he's saying that we make more money because you sell gas for $3 a gallon. I know that's not how the oil business works. That's
Yeah.
not about the end product. It's the beginning product. And that's the thing. While I'm watching that, I'm going, dude, you sound like every fucking MAGA chunk and every idiot when they talk about economics. They just see the end. They don't see how it comes to that. And that's the problem we have is that everyone sees what comes out of the spigot or out of the chicken's butt. They don't know how it gets to that point. They don't know why all those things affect that. They've never been curious to go back. They just say, oh yeah, well someone's fucking me, so I'm gonna fuck someone else. It doesn't work like that. And economics don't work like that. And then that's the thing. We sit here, you're bright, I'm bright, TJ the plumber's bright, oh so bright, Eric's bright. We've done this for years. We do this all the time. It's critical thinking. And we look at everyone, and we are at the mercy of these fucking morons who couldn't say. I mean, the biggest thing right now, everyone's complaining about eggs prices. Oh, you know why now? Because the avian flu. So
Yeah.
how's Trump going to fix that? How's Trump going to fix that? He ain't going to fix that. He can't. And God help us if the avian flu decides to jump to humans, then we're really fucked. But the point being is, you see that, and then you go, okay, how do we that relate to it? I mean, it's all cause and effect, and it goes back to also business. Trump doesn't run business. He doesn't run a true business. He runs some kind of 50s fantasy. Okay. Business, I've been taught, has stakeholders. Every state is a stakeholder in the United States, regardless. The people, the populations, the economies, all of it makes the country run. When you disconnect one stakeholder because you're on some kind of weird fantasy land, this is when business fails. And we
Absolutely.
may fail.
And the thing about it
And
is,
yeah,
Donald Trump sees only one stakeholder. He is the stakeholder.
that's
He
it.
is the most important. He's the one that needs to benefit. Everybody else can get fucked. And that's Republicans and Democrats. And that's the fatal flaw here. It doesn't work that
And
way.
the, and the smart people around him know this, and they're going to take their bits from it. You think those people are attaching themselves to Trump because they like him? What? They hate his ass, but they know they can benefit from him and make a lot of fucking money from him because he's an idiot. And when
Right.
idiots will do what you want, and as long as you give them what they want, for him, it's to stroke his ego and give him a check. Then let him do his own thing, his racist thing. Because honestly, all those oligarchs really don't care about immigration. They don't care about race. They fucking don't care about Christianity. No,
No.
their God is money. And all of this will lead them to get more money because it's never enough for them. And this is where we're at right now, watching this come apart. And I don't know where it's going to go because I don't see how states like California, Washington, Oregon, Illinois, New York, how are you going to put up with that? What are you going to
It's
start
good.
thinking about? And also, when Trump, right now, we haven't heard a word about Canada. We've heard about Greenland and Mexico. But here's the thing: they really don't. I don't think they're going to do what they want to do for Mexico because the Mexicans showed up in California in force with firefighters, and I saw their army helicopters, and I saw them move quickly. Really, do you really think this is going to be an easy fight if you want to do a soft invasion of Mexico?
I
But
don't think
here's
any of that's
that's
gonna. I don't think
yeah, I
anything
don't.
any of that's gonna happen. I think what we're going to have is an economic civil war in this country. The
Yeah,
haves and the
but here's the
have-nots.
thing.
Unfortunately, the haves are the blue states. The have-nots are the red states, and they will have fucked around and found out.
But they don't care because they get their culture wars.
Not
What's the
until they
first
get hit.
legislation that? What was the first legislation that passed that new Congress? It was about trans in sports.
Right. Right.
Trans.
It's
How many
culture
trans
wars.
athletes are in sports? It's not
Not
even
many.
worth it. And the point is that they made this whole thing. Nancy Mance's speech that set off Jasmine Crockett was disgusting. All you take her saying trans, 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 and you drop the N word in each one of them, it's no different than that than Jim Crow politician in the 1950s. That's what I heard in that
Well,
speech.
with Republicans, it's all about fear, and they have trigger words like immigrants, illegal immigrants, like trans people, like people who aren't Christian. These are, like you say, they don't really care about this stuff. It's all words they know will scare the certain part of the public that support them and will get them to come out and put money and vote. That's the point. They just use trigger words to get what
And,
they want, not because they really care about what's happening.
and I'm going to say something. I saw a video of this guy, a MAGA guy. He's by himself. He's probably in his mid 30s, early 40s. He's had a tough life. I can tell. And he's like, and he's going, yeah, I voted for Trump. Trump's going to be president. He's going to fix everything because we need a strong man to fix everything and help me out. I've had a hard life and he's going to help me. And I looked at that guy and I'm going, no one really helped him and showed him what he could do for his life.
Right.
Oh, now he's depending on a billionaire who not a billionaire, a grifter who doesn't give a rat's ass whether he lives or dies. And I watched and I looked at it and I'm going, at first I'm going, what a fucking cultist. And then as I got away from the video and looked at him, that's a sad sack of a lonely man.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I know what it's like to be desperate. And I know what it's like to feel that way. But you know what? I never blamed anyone else. I just figured out how do I get out of it? And that's the thing. A lot of these people, going back to the theme of this whole conversation, the critical thinking, what do I do now? How do I get? You can whine and cry. You could corner to corner and spend 15 minutes bitch crying. I have no problem with that. I've done it and get angry. And then after that, you take a deep breath. Okay, this is where I'm at. This is where I want to get. What options do I have? How far can I get to that? How far can I get out of it before? And then what's the next step after that? I mean,
Right.
it's the line from The Martian. What do? You do the math. You solve the first problem and then you solve the next one. And that's the thing that people haven't been taught. They have been so pressed down that they look for a savior. And here we are at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
I mean,
When you look at these people, you're absolutely right. These people are in desperate straits, at least in their mind. And when somebody is desperate, they will listen to anything and grab onto anything. And this is what they've done with Donald Trump. The only problem is there's just further disappointment coming for them. And will they recognize that? Will they react to it? One thing I'm looking forward to, I'm one of these guys. I don't worry about the past. Whatever happened, happened. There's nothing I can do about it. What am I going to do with what's in front of me? Donald Trump takes control of the presidency on January 20th. I just see opportunity to destroy and embarrass and make fun of this motherfucker. Let me tell you a quick story. We're going to tell you,
uh,
and this wasn't Donald Trump. This is a guy by the name of Jason Miller. He is a senior advisor to Donald Trump. He's this big, doughy, goofy, dipshit looking motherfucker that had trouble with his family and trouble with women and just a criminal, actually. Um, he was on a news show. Tell you how out of touch this guy is. He's on a news show and they start talking about Kash Patel going after his enemies list. And Jason Miller says, well, I hope that Kash Patel takes these Democrats to Pound Town. I go, you want Kash Patel to sexually assault Democrat? Is that what he doesn't know what the fucking thing means, but they do stupid shit like this every fucking day.
it's Stephen Miller, Jason Miller is, I mean, I believe he got caught paying for the abortion of his mistress.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's a fool. The problem is for
A
every
joke.
Jason Miller, there's a Stephen Miller, the
Yeah.
Uberfuhrer. The Uberfuhrer is the one we should be worried about. He's in the background, and he's not a dummy. He's not a fool. He's just a mean fucking racist and he's trying to use this to his advantage. And the same thing with was it Hoffman? I keep forgetting his name. The guy had a new immigration head. They're just mean fucking racists. They're no different than the Bull Connor in Alabama. They're just more sophisticated. And this time it won't be water hoses, it'll just be ice. But here's the thing I'm finding out. They did that test run in Bakersfield. ICE showed up in gas stations, started questioning people, started taking people away. Um, they tried it in Fresno. They got stopped. Because here's the thing that's going on. People are starting to mobilize against this. They know their tactics. Unless you're going to go in there hardcore with troops, when you show up, they don't have to say a word to you. And this goes back to the old days in the 70s when borders showed up, people would scream La Migra and they'd run. The point is, these guys thought they were cool and slick. The one gas station, they start picking people up. Problem is, it's not going to work anymore. That was a dry run. Now people are ready. And this is going to get, my biggest fear is it's going to get so ugly. And that may be the only thing that's going to help us is that some unbelievably ugly incident is going to happen. And it's going to be like the bombing of the church that killed the 4 girls. That there's going to
Oh,
have to be a sacrifice to stop this. I hope not. But
well,
people are starting to look at
yeah,
it sideways now.
I've said before that I think people were worried about Donald Trump losing and there being violence. I'm worried more about violence after Donald Trump has won. Now, well, you said something earlier, and I want you to clarify it a little bit because what you said can sound terrifying to people. And I just want you to explain what you mean by that. You said that on January 20th, that could be the end of our republic. Tell me what that means and how it manifests itself if it works out the way you suggest.
The one thing that our country has always been, since we talked about earlier about Civil War, has been one country. Didn't give a fuck what happened. Everyone kind of stood up for one another. What I'm seeing now is that republic may break off into those Trump nation, and then the rest of the nation. It's already happening now. You can
Yeah.
see it. Um, and it starts with funding. It starts with going at going after like the ridiculous. Like one of the creators put out that Trump named Mel Gibson and Sylvester Stallone ambassadors to Hollywood. Well, what? Hollywood is a fake city. It's to to he said to watch out for his interests. You see, he doesn't look at each state. He doesn't look at us as all one country and Americans. He looks at us as opportunities to be taken advantage of. Each state giving him what he wants and his ego and all that, and then all his little sycophants are getting they're all getting off on that or making money from it or going after people they don't like. It's when I say the end of the American Republic, I mean in the sense of at this time how we look at America as one. It is
Any
not.
kind of, you're talking about any kind of unity, any kind of cohesiveness
Exactly.
amongst this. We're all separate. We're not all separate, but we've got separate factions going different ways. You know, one of the things you mentioned Sylvester Stallone and um, Mel
Mel
Gibson
Gibson.
being fucking ambassadors. Donald Trump loves giving out jobs that don't exist. They just don't
Mhm.
fucking exist. And then you got Carrie Underwood, who's going to be at the inauguration. I think a lot of these people that have hitched their wagon, these famous people hitching their wagon to Donald Trump, it's going to go so badly over the next couple of years. They are going to wish they never have done that. I mean, Carrie
Yeah.
Underwood's fairly beloved, but immediately half the nation doesn't like you because you
Right.
tied yourself to Donald Trump. Hell, I'll tell you how bad it gets. Barack Obama, one of the most popular presidents ever, sits down next to Donald Trump, smiles and interacts casually with him. That pissed off a lot of motherfucking people. They're
That's
going,
not his
bro.
wife.
Yeah, it pissed off his wife.
Oh, you know he got home and he got those speaking to. That's why she's not showing the inauguration. That's why Barack's not going. No, honey, you're not. I saw your act. Do you know what he did to us? Oh, I know how that conversation went. And I'm not talking about I'm talking about a husband and a wife.
Yeah,
Oh, that shit did not go well. That's for Carrie Underwood. You know what? She will lose people. Everyone's backing away. A lot of people upset. And then I love the far right going, well, why are you canceling? We would never do that. Really? Two words for you. The Dixie, three words. The Dixie chicks who got fucked
yeah.
over during the Bush administration
And
for
they were
saying that
right.
they're not happy. Yeah, and they were right. And so I don't care. Okay, I like their music. She wants to make it so okay, so I don't listen to music or you're not high on my fucking list at this point. Okay. It was cute. You want to do that because you got kids and you got radicalized, fine. I don't care. I don't, because these are all distractions. The whole
Yeah.
Michelle Obama thing is a distraction from what's going to happen at the inauguration. Also, the biggest thing I saw the other day, I don't know if you saw it, Midas Touch, which is bigger than Fox News, by the way, your
Now
viewership, and Fox News is really upset. It's not going to cover the inauguration. They're not going
I'm
to
not going to
show it.
watch it.
I'm not watching. They're not going to show it. And Ben Masalas came out because we may lose viewers. Dude, you're not going to lose viewers. You have more balls than Morning Joe does. You just
Right.
said we're not going to because we know what it's going to be. It's going to be another campaign rally. See, that's the thing. Going back to my statement, the end of the American Republic. What is an inauguration speech? Hey, this is my vision for America. This is how I want everyone to come in and buy to what I'm doing for you guys, for you. That's not going to be the inauguration. You know it. I know it. They know it. It's going to be me, Trump, telling you how you love me, how you're going to continue to love me. And if you don't like me, you're against me. Tell
All
me
you
I'm
have to
wrong
do
because
is
you know I'm
all
not.
you have to do is go back and look at the last inauguration, the speech he gave. It was very dystopian, very draconian. It was very fucking dark, and it was probably the worst inauguration speech in the history of this country. Donald Trump got angry because Michelle Obama said she's not showing up. That's ironic coming from a
Yes,
guy who didn't show up to Joe Biden's inauguration. It's a
right.
little hypocritical. But then we find out Michelle's not showing up, Barack's not showing up, George W. Bush isn't showing up, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, they aren't showing up. Nancy Pelosi isn't showing up. It's going to be
Yeah.
that like that poor little kid who has a birthday party where nobody comes and the fire department has to come out to save him. Donald
Oh
Trump
no, here's the
is a pussy ass bitch and he's going to be whining like nobody's business when he doesn't get the big crowds or the celebrities out to see him.
here's the thing. All those people's names you mentioned, Trump has attacked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me make it clear. Why would I go celebrate with you with someone who I know hates me? That is the stupidest thing. Why would Michelle Obama show Hillary Clinton? What the fuck do you think? No, I don't want to watch you rise to the presidency because I know what you're going to do. I don't want to see it. I don't want to celebrate with you. You know why? Because it's bullshit. And know what you're going to do. And you're butthurt after you attack me. See, that's the irony of the entire MAGA thing. They're all victims. Going back
Yeah,
to that one guy standing alone in the dark. No one loves me. Why, dude? What did you do in your life that got you here?
you're
Why are you here?
unlovable.
How can you get out of this?
Well,
And
there's an
that's the
exception.
thing.
There's an
Go ahead.
exception to what you said. These people on the Democratic side that have been attacked by Donald Trump aren't aren't going to placate Donald Trump. But you've got people in the Republican Party, the Kevin McCarthy's, the Mike Johnsons, the Lindsey Grahams, the
Mhm.
all these people. See, Donald Trump's an equal opportunity attacker. He attacks everybody that doesn't do exactly what he wants. But these Republicans are so sycophantic that even after he embarrasses them, like embarrassing Ted Cruz's wife and calling Ted Cruz's dad the killer of
Yeah.
JFK and talking shit about Mike Pence's wife. They still kneel down in front of this guy. That's the big difference between Democrats and Republicans. Democrats say, fuck yourself. Go be by yourself. We don't want to be near you. But these Republicans just suck up the abuse
Well,
like nobody's
they
business.
figure because they'll take the abuse because they get something out of it. They'll know they get some piece of something that Trump will give them. That's the one thing that someone asked. The lawyer Michael, um,
Cohen,
Trump's old, say again,
Michael Cohen.
Michael Cohen. Why? You're not a dummy. You're smart. You're street smart. How the fuck did you end up going to jail for this con man? And he said because he's good at making you feel better about yourself. He's good at doing it. And I'm like going, okay, I guess. But I mean, those people get something out of it. I mean, look at the sycophants like uh, Byron Daniels and Tim Scott. Man, they fucking hold Trump's water the entire fucking campaign for showing that black people love Trump. What
They
did they
got
get out
nothing.
of it? Nothing,
Nothing.
because they
You know
don't
what?
want you.
I'm gonna take exception to what Michael Cohen said. Well, he's good at making people feel good. That's putting the onus on Donald Trump. I say the onus is on Michael Cohen and people like him. Donald Trump doesn't make them feel good in a real way. He understands their weakness, their flaw, and that is
Yes.
greed and quest for power. And he makes them believe that they can get it
Hmm.
by being tied to Donald Trump. This isn't Donald Trump fooled us. Oh my God, we're innocent. You were flawed motherfuckers in the first place. You
Exactly.
believed what he told you. You wanted the money, you wanted the power, and you got fucked. And you know what? Michael Cohen and all these people deserve what they got.
Oh, by the way, to all those January 6th prisoners, you're not getting out of jail, motherfuckers. He doesn't even know who you are. I mean, I know you not, to use Shakespeare's words. I know you not. He doesn't. He knows that they're fucking criminals. He used them. I no, I have no idea who you are now. I don't know who
He'll be
you
too
are.
busy to get to it. And he's already walked it back. He said, well,
Yep,
anybody that's in there for violence aren't going to get out. And they're
that's all of
already
them.
freaking out about that.
That's
Yeah,
all
that's
of
all of
them.
them. Isn't
I mean,
violence
and
the
that's
essence of an insurrection?
it pretty much. And I'm gonna go back to one thing that I got a thing from TJ the other day about did you read the report? Be honest, no, because they wouldn't tell me something I didn't know already. And two, it's literally, and I'm gonna use this example. If y'all don't like it, I don't give a shit. It's literally piss in the ocean at this point. It
Yeah,
doesn't make a difference. It's you. It's a piece of paper that historians will go, God, these people were fucking dumb to let this man back into the office. It means nothing because it wasn't released before the election.
right.
No one had the balls at the Justice Department say, fuck it. This isn't about politics. This is a goddamn criminal. This man betrayed the country in his oath to the office. We need to release it. And politics be damned. That's what history will come back and say if there's any history of the American Republic left, going, this is what happens when you treat a crime as a political act.
Right.
And here we are again. And so for all those, and I saw that with the release report. And
Exactly.
and I mean, you're literally it's nothing. I mean, it's full of the same things we knew, and only the Trump only objects to it because it makes him look bad. He doesn't like to be called out, but he knows on November 5th everything ended, and November 5th the justice for Trump
Right.
ended because when they voted for that also. Let's make that
Right.
clear.
Absolutely.
And they voted for Trump. They voted for everything that comes with him. Great. The judge sentenced him and discharged the sentence. That was just finishing because he had to. He was going
Well,
to put him in jail. He couldn't put him in jail.
the
If he
thing
had
about it
lost the
is
election, he would have put him in jail. But that's a
people
different cat.
people people will always say that, yeah, but Donald Trump will not wear well in history. But I want to warn the Democrats a little bit too. Donald Trump in history, there's going to be some problems. His kids and grandkids are going to pay the price because eventually it'll be exposed and people will realize how fucking horrible the things he did and how ridiculous it was. But history is also going to take its toll on the Democrats.
Oh,
Why
fuck
the
yes.
fuck did you let this happen? How did you let this happen? How did Merrick Garland do nothing? How did the Democrats not push as hard as? Why didn't they fight? This is going to be a stain on not just Republicans, but a stain on our government in general, on the country in general. You
Mhm.
allowed this to happen. Hindsight is 2020, and they're going to go, "Holy fuck, that's ridiculous." And they're going to look back at these times and say, what is wrong with these motherfuckers? And deservedly so.
And part of it is that the generation that bore them were used to, even though before Reagan, you did a video which I thought was really good about what's going on with ceasefire.
Yeah.
And the first thing I thought of, and I should have made this connection myself, is what happened with the hostages in 1980 in Iran.
Right.
The deal was done before the election, but Republican operatives who later did their own things made a deal with the Iranians not to release the hostages until the day that Ronald Reagan was inaugurated. I remember the
Right.
first question someone asked Ronald Reagan, "How do you feel about the hostages going home?" And he made a comment. Reagan still to this day gets credit for what Jimmy Carter did. And that's what you're seeing now with, because they're already taking credit for Trump. I don't even know if it's going to work because some of the cabinet in Israel is very, very pro-war, and they don't want a ceasefire. They
Well,
don't.
that's exactly my
That just
point.
may blow up.
We've heard about ceasefires before, and they always go to shit. And there's one very good reason why they go to shit is because their leader, Bibi Netanyahu, wants to perpetuate the war to keep himself
Right.
safe. If the war ends, he's likely to get kicked out of his office and may very well go to jail. He's nothing more than a Trump 2.0 in Israel. And his very life hangs in the balance of whether that war ends. And as we kept hearing the reports about the ceasefire, he says, well, there might be a crisis here. There might be a problem here. The ceasefire hasn't happened. There's an agreement, but we've seen agreements with ceasefires happening.
All
Now, I
right.
hope it does happen. I hope it's over and I hope people are safe. But when you've got Bibi Netanyahu, basically Donald Trump in Israel, I'm not ready to say it's over. And if
Well,
Donald Trump wants to take credit and then afterwards it goes to shit, it goes to shit because of Donald Trump too.
oh well, he'll blame Joe Biden for that at that point. Returns to shit. Don't be
Who cares?
surprised that on Monday the 20th everything gets signed and it happens. Don't be surprised. I mean, that's
Yeah.
again. I mean, if something worked before, might as well go with it again. I mean,
Yeah.
it happened, in 1980, and that's what we're going to. It's a rewriting. Everything, and it's going to be a 1984 rewriting of history. It's going to be like that for a while. Trump's fantasy world is going to permeate everything and everyone, because let's be honest, the right wing media machine is fucking good. They're good. They're
I know they're
really
good.
fucking
They're
good
loud. They're loud and they're persistent.
and persistent. But the point is, like, all the rumors of what happened in Southern California and the fires still stick up. The, Brian Tyler Cohen did a great interview with Gavin Newsom, and Newsom said they were talking to him when he's like in the middle of this firestorm bullshit. He's trying to deal with all this going on, and they're telling, "Hey, Governor, you know what they're saying?" He ignored it. Then all of a sudden, someone asked him when he was out there, "Why didn't you give us water? Why'd you turn off the water from the north and for fish to smell?" He goes, "What are you talking about?" He had to back up and look at all the lies and go, "Oh shit!" That was within 48 hours. So now they have and so he has to spend time, and officials spend time debunking this. They have a whole fucking website about debunking all this crap. But that's how quick it went through everything. And if you don't watch it, it back now you're on the back pedal, and you can tell them the truth, but everyone's going to say, "Yeah, right." I mean, there's a rumor he put out, literally that got out, that the fires were deliberately set because there's tunnels underneath California, so all the immigrants could run to Mexico. So they needed the space to get rid of everything. And millions of
Uh,
people saw this. And see, that's the thing. We are going to, it, it, with the media being taken over by corporate mentality, we are going to see this for a while. Now, if TikTok survives, it's actually going to be the biggest buffer against it. I think that's another reason like people like Zuckerberg and they want to get rid of it. Um, I don't think my biggest fear that the chairman of TikTok is going to be at the inauguration. I know he's doing that to survive. I get it. I just hope those deals get cut behind the deal and the words Elon Musk come out of it. Because at that point,
yeah,
I'll burn my fucking phone
yeah,
before that.
yeah. The
I'll
idea
burn
that
my fucking
Elon
phone.
Musk, yeah, the idea that Elon Musk was going to buy TikTok was a bunch of bullshit. It was just noise. And I thought, honestly, what I thought the reason they said Elon Musk was going to buy it is because if Donald Trump was going to give a 90-day reprieve to TikTok, one of the caveats to that is you had to have a legitimate buyer in place to give that 90 days. And so they maybe wanted to use Elon as a legitimate buyer because he's the richest guy in the world in order to
Um,
enact that 90 days.
but see, the thing about it is, again, First Amendment violation. But once that happens, and I think a lot of scholars have said it, once you do this, everything is on the table at that point. And then before, oh, Marky Boy thinks he's safe, you're not. Yeah, that's the one thing I had. I made a video about a comment about someone saying you're always going after Trump. He's going to make America great again. Okay, no. He said America failed. He's going to make it great again. America failed on November 5th.
Yeah.
That's the failure. Okay, Trump is not going to make America great again. He's going to break America. The hardest thing that we're going to have to deal with is picking up the pieces afterwards, and hopefully we come back stronger to not let shit like that happens again. We he the cognitive dissonance of everyone has just taken us by surprise. I never thought we'd get here in my life. I think that's the biggest disappointing when I say failure, is we were getting ahead of it. And I told my wife years ago that at the end of the Obama administration for the second one, the country will turn conservative. I mean, that's because that's a reaction to having the first black president. I didn't know
Right.
we're going to fucking just absolutely burn everything to the ground. I didn't think we're going to actually move back 60 to 70 years. I didn't actually
It's
think we're going to think that the 18th century was a better century than this in
no.
the way of thinking. Manifest destiny. I heard someone say the words manifest destiny on TV. The concept from the 18th century. I heard
Yeah.
someone said he's glad that now we're in expansion of power. Expansion of what? Whom? Are you crazy? I mean, I don't. It's just like expansion. What? Why? The world doesn't work like that anymore. That colonization was an economic thing. Let's
Yeah.
be honest. That was about getting resources and money and doing it and taking it from people you felt wasn't that didn't deserve it. Okay, that's the truth. Let's be honest. That's what
It's true.
colonization is about. Um, and now, who are you going to colonize? Colonize. Do your colonization. I like someone they sent Jesse Waters sent some asshole into Canada and said, "Well, why wouldn't you want to be part of the United States?" He looked at him and go, "Why? We have national health." He goes, "Well, we have guns. We don't have guns here." See? Well, he's looking at him like going, "Are you out of your fucking mind?" I mean, you're. I like what that one MP said. Join us. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm down. See, that's the thing. What happens if one state decides, "Fuck this," succeeds to the union and petitions to Canada to become a province?
Yeah.
What happens? Because what's your reaction to that? Because that is either you let them go or you break out the military, one or the other. Because because that's what I'm saying. Those are possibilities open when you let someone like Donald Trump run loose and the sycophants who don't. I mean, are you really going to invade Panama? Do you? I mean, countries around them are saying, "Oh, if we do that, we're going to fight." I mean, they're not
There's going to
kidding.
be some pushback. There's going to be some pushback. You go into Greenland, you're probably going to have NATO pushing back, and that's not a
And
good
also same
thing.
thing with Canada. Canada, that's a NATO nation.
Yeah,
I mean, the British and French always said it. No, if you do it, we'll have to. We will have to. Was it Article 5? Article 4? Sorry, Article 5. I
Article
believe it
5.
is
Yeah,
5. We'll have to invoke Article 5. You're no different than the Russians. I mean, that's the thing. The Russians have avoided trying not to hit a NATO country. That one time when the missile got um, came over Poland and landed, everyone looked real quick, and the Russians were the first to say, "No, no, no, it wasn't us." Turned out to be a
yeah,
misfire from the Ukrainians. But the first thing said stop, because if it had been, it game over. I mean, Poland would say would be screaming Section 5, and it would have been over. They know this, and that's the thing. We are dealing with a bunch of people who live in a different fucking world, who think that military use is call of fucking duty.
yeah.
It doesn't. It's just crazy. And if you're a vet that voted for Trump, why? I want to hear one. I really haven't heard one. I mean, there was someone said there was Navy SEALs um, uh, marching for Pete Hesgeth. Really? I mean, what? How low can you go? I mean, this guy is a piece of shit. I'm not even talking about his qualifications.
Yeah.
He's morally a
As a
piece of
human,
crap.
he's a bad human.
And
Do
let's
you
talk
ever
about
get
all
the
the.
Do you ever
Go
get the
ahead.
feeling that, okay, you want to put Pete Hegseth in the Defense Department, you want to put RFK in the health, you want to do this, you want to do that. We've only got so much ability to fight back, and the Democrats haven't proved that they aren't willing to do much of anything. Do you ever feel like, fucking go ahead, just let it burn down, because we're gonna have to clean up the mess afterwards, because you're going to burn yourself down in the process along with some innocent people. But it's not like we haven't tried for the last 4 years to stop
Right.
this thing. And the people of this country said, fuck it, we want it. So take it.
Yeah. You want? I mean, RFK enjoy polio. I'm vaccinated. My kids are vaccinated. Enjoying
Yeah.
polio. Enjoy measles and mumps. I've had both. They're not fun.
No.
They're not what you think they are. They're not childhood diseases. They're fucking diseases that can
Well,
kill you.
especially if you get them as an adult, like chicken pox, not a big deal when
Oh,
you're a
I
little
got
kid.
mumps as an adult.
Get chicken pox when you're 40. That's a motherfucker.
Oh no, I got the chick. No, I take it back. I got chicken pox when I was in my 40s because there was my because there was no vaccine at the time. The vaccines had finally come out, and it went through my house. Started with my youngest, got to my oldest. Everyone got it, and then one morning I'm not feeling well, and I call my mom and go, "Mom, did I ever have the chicken pox?" She goes, "You had the measles, you had the mumps." No, and exactly that same day I broke out,
Wow.
and it's not fun. It's a fucking virus, people, and it fucks with you. We're not. It's not cute. The dots aren't. It's not the point. I had to go to my urgent care. First, I had to tell my job I wasn't showing up, and my job being corporate, they said, "Well, no, you can't do it because you have to come in because you're out of time." And the big boss, because I told my union steward that, and the big boss told him, I go, "You tell my boss, you tell the boss that I'm willing to come in with a communicable disease. Ask him that question." They gave me the time. I
Yeah.
walked into urgent care. I went up to the window and said, "I think I have chicken pox." There were two older people next to me that literally couldn't backpedal enough. They
Right.
gave me an antiviral. The best thing about the antiviral is that it kept the spots off, but the fevers and the shakes were the worst. I sat on a couch for 2 days shivering. It was not fun, you dumbasses.
Well, and
That's the
the
truth.
thing is, chicken pox is related to shingles. And if you ever
Hmm.
got shingles, I got my I've told the story before. I went to this funeral for a friend of mine's dad. This guy I had never seen in 20 years. I went to school with him. I had seen him in 20 years. He walks right up to me, and the first thing he says to me, "Have you had your singles shots?" And I go, "No." He goes, "Get those motherfuckers because I had shingles. It's the worst shit I've ever had in my life." Um, you got to protect yourself, especially when you get older. You can't handle shit like you did when you were young.
No, but see, the point is, we're going to pay for incompetency, and also there's the cruelty of it. I thought the most pointed question was the new Treasury Secretary nominee. He's qualified, but Bernie Sanders asked him straight up, "Are you going to do anything to help the minimum wage 7.25? You do anything to raise it?" No, that was his answer,
Yeah.
and that's the way it's going to be, because they live in a world that we don't live in, and they see us as expendable pieces of shit. So, if you go back to the beginning of this discussion with TikTok, there's going to come a point that people are going to get really tired, and there is going to be a power move, and it's not going to be a left right move. It's going to be an up down move. People are tired, and when you push people to the end, even that poor desperate soul, if I were to offer him, dude, look, I get you, but you know they're not going to help you. Let's band together and let's force them to help us. You don't think those guys would finally say, fuck their MAGA hats and go, yeah, this has been a disappointment. Show me what to do. I'm not talking politics to you, dude. I'm just talking about getting a fair shake in life, redoing this so everyone gets a fair shake of life. And don't worry about your color and what you think. They're fooling you. Join us to get a fair shake in life. It may
If you
be
don't
dangerous, but we may go down, but at least it's a try.
if you don't think your voice has any power, all you have to do is look at this TikTok thing. Everybody was willing to just let that go, but there started to be pushback and people screaming, and so many people are involved. Meta and Zuckerberg thought they were going to make money when TikTok shut down. Guess what happened to Zuckerberg? His his uh, his stock market, his shares went
Tanking.
down by 35% in a few days. He's fucked around and found out too. He thought he was gaming the system. He basically fucked himself in that situation.
And let's talk about for a moment Red Note.
Yeah.
Red Note is funny. And now I wouldn't do it because I want to deal with a Mandarin, and maybe I'm too old school when it comes to dealing with a communist Chinese.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing that you're seeing with Red Note with a lot of the younger millennials or younger Xers is that they're being exposed for the first time in a long time to what the world looks like beyond the United States. And they're starting to see, what is all these trains? Why are the cities clean? What do you mean corn is only 99 cents for 4 pounds? I just bought two ears for 4.50. What do you mean you got this and that? Well, what do you mean? The biggest cultural revolution. The funny thing about the Red Note or the Red Book, you know what the Red Book is. You know it. I know it. Is Mao Zedong's um,
Right.
sayings that led to the Cultural Revolution, which was a vicious, horrible um, pruning of intellectuals because Mao was trying to control. Once he died, you saw China change, but they're still a communist country. But they turned back to business. But the point being is like when you expose people to new cultures and new ideas, take the politics out. Okay, take out the politics. If you expose people to that, that's scary for a government that is trying to sell you shit that we're the greatest nation on earth. How are we the greatest nation when I can't get on a train to go anywhere and they have everything? And you're
Right.
telling me they're communists, but they've got more than I do. You told me that system didn't work. You said that they were evil. Look at these people. well, what's going on? And I'm hearing that in a lot of these videos where people have been on Red Note, and that's why they're starting to freak out in Congress. That's not
Yeah,
about the Chinese thing. I mean, it's part of it. Trust me, Chinese propaganda is Chinese propaganda, but it's not even propaganda. All you have to say, hey, this is what I'm doing. People, I mean, Chinese people, they're seeing videos of people showing in the shop, and everyone's going, what, where, how? I thought you guys didn't have anything. They said the communist system doesn't work. No, that it's a capitalistic system with communist politicians in it. They
right.
make money in China. See, that's the thing. The Tom Cotton is bred of an old school stupidity that doesn't exist anymore. That they've sold people on. Now people are starting. Even if they let TikTok survive, they're going to stay with Red Note, and they're going to see. And that's the thing. Once you start seeing beyond the borders, that's where change happens. And
Right.
they've been selling people this bullshit for 60 fucking years. And now a lot of people are getting tired of it because they're getting nothing from the bullshit. Only the
Yeah.
very, very rich are, not us. That's a interesting concept to watch in the next few weeks with
Well,
this.
I think you and I are on the same page. You're saying the fight will be from uh, the bottom up, the people in the middle class and the lower class folks that will be fighting against the wealthy. We're already seeing that to a certain extent. And it's what I've said before. People want you to believe that this is a Democratic or Democrat Republican fight. It is not. When you watch what the Democrats have done in the past or haven't done because they were complacent, it's really a fight of us versus them. And it's unfortunate. In the fight during this election, the Democrats were a better option than the Republicans. And they're still a better option than the Republicans. But the Democrats got to stop stepping on their own dick. They got to start doing something. And if they can't, then people like us on TikTok or wherever it is have to start the fight. And then it is us against all of them.
And all you have to know is when you, or those who will see the inauguration, I'm not watching it. Now, we'll
I'm not
get
either.
pictures, we'll get highlights. Look who's got the, who's surrounding Trump. Is the people who own the most wealth in the United States, who have taken the most wealth in the United States,
Right.
sitting there with him. Because they don't respect him.
No,
He's their fucking tool. And they
he's
got
using
finally
them.
what, yeah, he finally got what he wants. And again, I said this before, and some people giving me some shit. You can make as much money as you want. I don't give a fuck. But pay your fair share and don't be evil with it. The one thing I love about Amazon and Jeff Bezos, it's a great system, and it does benefit everyone. And yeah, I like Prime Video. I'll be honest. I like the shows. You've done a lot. The problem is that you wanted more, and you thought the only way is to go fucking Bond villain on us. Same thing with
Yeah.
Elon Musk. That man has never done a goddamn thing to build anything in his life. I'll give Bezos credit. They built something. Even Zuckerberg, he did build something, although he's in the backs of his
He stole
friends.
it first. He stole it
Yeah,
first.
but Musk just had money from his emerald mines and then bought everything, and everyone thinks he's a genius.
You know,
He's not a genius.
When I look at Donald Trump and then around him, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and the other one,
No, Zuckerberg or
uh,
all of them. Now, I
Zuckerberg.
mean, toss in your billionaire of the moment.
When I
That's
when I
fine.
look at those people standing together, it reminds me of a Bob Seger song, and the song is "Night Moves." And then the line that says, "She was using me, I was using her, but we didn't care. We were getting our share." And that's
Share.
exactly what's happening here. Donald Trump is using them for the money. They're using him for the power, and it's all to our detriment.
But I'll drop another line on you from a Don Henley song. I never forgot this. I love the song, and one of my old Methodist preachers dropped it because he was talking about what Christ says. Wealth. Being rich is not going to benefit you. And he dropped this line, and this is to all you old rich folks. Okay, to billionaires. I've never seen any, I've never seen hearses with luggage racks.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely,
because you ain't
absolutely.
going to take it with you. You could pass it on to people, but you're going to die with nothing, like the rest of us. And if there's an afterlife, there's chains, and they're long and ponderous chains, and you will wear them for eternity, counting on your acts. Yeah, I just combined Don Henley and Charles Dickens. That's what an education does for you people, and reading, learn. But see, that's the point.
The
What
only
did
the
you
only
do in
th-
your life? Okay,
the
sorry.
only thing you have when you die is your memories. And if they aren't
Mm-hmm.
good memories, you're leaving here in a fucked up mess. And that's the point. You've got to make those memories with your family and your friends and make them good memories, because that's really the only thing you take with you. All the money, people
Yeah.
talk to me about money all the time. How much is this? And what I go, look, if you put your faith in money, you're going to be disappointed. Money is a tool. Money is meant to be
Right.
used. You got to use it intelligently, and you got to be uh, uh, but a lot of people get themselves in trouble with money because they see that as a status symbol. The more I got, the more important I look. Just be comfortable, be happy.
Yeah.
Don't let money rule you. And that's unfortunate because we've got
And
a big faction of this country that is ruled by money. Donald Trump
well,
and the billionaires, the oligarchy. It's all about money, and
and
it's a
then the rest
losing
of us
cause.
are paycheck to paycheck people, and then money
Right.
becomes our obsession because you have to survive. It's a. I mean, I don't know how we're going to get through all this shit. It's hard to watch this economically. Um, these people had they won. They conned enough people to believe that they're going to benefit from it, and they're not. They start.
Yeah.
Some people are starting to see it, um, but they're not. I'm not. You're not. Um, a lot of people are going to suffer for it. I just wish. I mean, you said it on the videos. I said it on videos. I don't know what to tell you guys. They made that decision for us. They literally did. The ironic thing is that if we had won the election, or Kamala Harris won the election, they'll be screaming and yelling, but they're going to benefit from it.
Right.
They won the election, and they won't get anything out of it, and certain people are going to suffer for their lack of vision. I wish I could tell people we have a strategy. Ain't no strategies. It's just
No. I
it's
mean,
just basically okay.
if Kamala had won, it would still be tough because we'd be digging out of a hole. Now that we elected Donald Trump, we're just digging this cesspool hole deeper, and it's going to be that much harder to get out of. And that's, like you said, you fucked around, you found out. People say, what should we do? In my life, I don't worry about the past because that's already over. I don't worry about the future as much because we really don't know what that's
Right.
going to be. All I can do is deal with what's in front of me and do the best I can with it. Otherwise, I get overwhelmed. A lot of people are saying it's going to be Armageddon. It's going to be an absolute disaster. I don't think it is, just because that's the way I look at life. I'm going to take one problem at a time, deal with it as it comes,
Exactly.
and assume I will come
I
out the other side in the sunshine.
mean, and the thing about it, there is no political solution for this all. Let's
No,
be honest. At the beginning of, everyone talked about politics and all that. There is no political solution. The political solution ended as soon as some of the Democrats started to capitulate. As soon as the press started to capitulate, there is no political solution. The midterms are coming in 2 years. I don't even know that's going to be a solution at that point.
right.
Um, it's we don't, because there is no political solution. What it is now a solution of communities. And I think that's what we're seeing here with you and I, our little clique. To be honest, it's a clique. A lot of guys, but I mean in a good sense that we can bounce stuff all around and we can do our ideas. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
care if I get 10 views on a video. I said my piece.
Yeah.
someone heard it. And so the point being is like, um, TJ says something, or Eric says something, or Soul. These are people who impact the people around you when you say something.
Right.
And people, and it's because I cannot trust politicians anymore because
None of them.
they
None of them.
have none of them because they have an agenda because they've been tied to the money. Everything's tied to the money, and everything's going to be like that until we realize that we have more power than them. And I think what we're going to see little by little is the groundswell. I mean, the MAGA people have their communities, but they don't have that type of power
Mhm.
because it's all based on hate, all based on taking stuff or making fun of people. But don't get me wrong, I'll make fun of a dumb MAGA fuck anytime. But the point being is, we also look at everyone in general like Old Soul. That's a warrior.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that woman would have probably been, on the buses in the '60s. What she's doing is basically what a lot of people are going to end up doing is tweaking people in the system and going around the system and making the system kind of fail on itself. We're going to see a lot of really cruel shit probably this year.
Yeah.
Cruelty that I haven't seen since the '50s and '60s. Not even the '70s or '80s will compare to that. And there wasn't that
No.
type of cruelty. There was penalties for it. We're going to see '50s and '60s cruelty with no penalties until people get tired of it. I got to see if people have tired or have balls enough to stop it. Because right now, our politicians that's supposed to be on our sides don't have the balls to stop it. They
No,
want
they
to see
don't.
how it goes, to see how it's going to work out. And hopefully, it doesn't get to the point that we can't pick up any kind of the pieces. I mean, I don't want dystopia. I don't want a civil war. I don't want people to succeed. This nation lived through a lot of shit. The idea of our country going down at the hands of a fucking grifter, a convicted grifter, a rapist, a man who couldn't spell cat if you spotted him the C and the T, is
Right.
disgusting. I mean, not like this. Conquered, nuclear war. I get this.
Yeah.
Hell, no.
Well, the thing about it is with our Democratic politicians, they want to play politics. But this isn't about politics anymore. This is a war. So you're either going to be a politician or a warrior. If you're a
Right.
politician, you're not worth anything to us. You got to be a warrior at this point because we're in a fucking war. That means a different set of rules, a different set of mindsets, and fucking fight about this. I just
And I
don't
think the
see
mindset.
anybody, say for a few people on the Democratic side, who are willing to do it, but you need all of
Oh,
them
I
to
know,
be.
but they're being silenced. AOC, Jasper Crockett, even
Yeah.
some of the people we thought were fired are kind of toning it down because they fear something. I don't know what they fear. What the fuck do you fear? What's left to fear?
Well,
I
that's
mean,
why it's
what are
on
you
us
afraid of?
because
Losing?
they can't silence us. They can't silence all
Right.
of us. So it's on
I
us
mean,
to do this.
they could go. I'm gonna because we're coming. I know you want to do a live when it's coming to the end of this. I'm gonna bring up a Trump sent out one of his little 1 a.m. truths because Seth Meyer went out. Now Seth Meyer, when he goes after Trump, it's like it's hardcore,
Yeah.
and he went off on him, and Trump saw it, and he threatened. He thinks that Comcast should be fined for comedians or other networks fined for comedians making fun of them. They should be held accountable. Which got me to thinking, with the TikTok, if they upheld that, that could lead to that thing because that's a national security risk because you're
Right.
attacking the president. Which brings me to a concept that Stalin did. And I thought about this and I remember this literally from a science fiction book about dystopian America where an American dictator took over. It's the concept of someone called a wrecker. A wrecker which with Stalin and his NKVD came up with, is a dissident or someone who speaks against the government, whose actions are deemed wrecking society,
Right.
wrecking their society. So they were arrested for the crime of wrecking. A lot of people died in gulags for speaking out, for doing things that Stalin didn't like.
Right.
And my biggest fear for all of us is that Trump's fucking low level ego comes up with the concept of American concept of a wrecker. Because honestly, if you ban TikTok under national security, what's the biggest national security to these people's minds than the president being undermined and his authority?
Right.
Then you come up with a rule and you come up with a law. And then all of a sudden, here we are. It is what fascists do. And I brought that up because that's the same concept. Now, it, we will it get that way? I don't know. It could. Trump is his ego is so fragile. Who knows? And God help Jimmy Kimmel. He'll get drawn and quartered. And that's not a joke. Because if he goes that far, if he comes up
Yeah.
with the American version of the wrecker crime, that could be devastating for everyone. And how far do people let it go? Argentina did that. Remember they disappeared?
Yeah.
And everyone's going, Will, you're freaking out. You're getting paranoid. Am I? Really, guys, am I? Listen to the words. Listen to his sycophants. Watch them. Because Trump is everything to them. And if it benefits them to get rid of a lot of opposition, and that includes Zuckerberg, people they feel could be a threat with money. Remember, once a fascist gets rid of one enemy, there's always another.
Yeah.
There always will be another.
Absolutely. Well,
Okay,
we're going to
everyone
wrap
happy.
things up.
Smile. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody get their Prozac out with their toast and
Well,
enjoy.
I forgot I have Zoloft on top of all my other drugs, so yeah, I'm good.
Well, you
I'm
got that
fine.
going
I'm
for
calm.
you. Just keep the
But
Zoloft flowing
I,
and you'll be fine.
yeah, I mean,
Thank
yeah, so yeah, it's yeah, Mike. Thank you for letting me spew my shit again. That's the best thing about TikTok. We all kind of got together. An old white guy in Minnesota and a Puerto Rican originally from California get to talk shit, which is never wasn't on my bingo card for life.
No, it wasn't on mine either, but I'm glad it was, and I feel fortunate that we have this platform to do that. Thank you, Will. For those of you listening, I want to thank you for taking the time to do that. I hope you have a great day and talk to you tomorrow.